The Triangle Factory fire was the worst industrial disaster in the history of New York prior to 9/11. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory had some of the poorest policies and upkeep of all factories. The safety measures were the bare minimum with many flaws.
The conditions in the factory were pretty much the norm for the time. It was stuffy, dirty, just generally unsafe. The doors were locked, the windows were shut, and you combine that with long hours and the fatigue that would bring on, it was kind of a recipe for disaster.
It is believed that the fire started when a worker threw a match into a scrap bin and caught fire. Once the fire had started, the women and children who worked there began to flood to the fire escapes, elevators, and exit doors. The fire escape outside was poorly and cheaply designed and it ended up collapsing under the weight of the workers. 25 died during its collapse. When the women reached the exit doors inside, they were locked to prevent theft and people leaving work early. When the workers reached the elevator shafts, only 1 out of 4 elevators were functioning due to the lack of management by Harrison Blank. When firefighters arrived to the scene, their ladders only reached the 6th floor, and the fire hoses did not effectively put out the fire. Women and children began jumping from the 8th floor out of desperation, in hopes that the fire nets would catch them. The nets were very ineffective and couldn't catch a single person. They were too weak and broke during the impact of the workers. 146 women and children died during the Triangle Factory fire. All the deaths were largely preventable, and most pinned the blame on Harrison Blank.
Harrison Blank were at fault as the company's owners. They're the ones that kind of established the culture that allowed this tragedy to happen. They created a culture of cutting costs and putting profit over the safety of their workers. And even though they contracted or subcontracted out the day-to-day management of the factory, as owners and creating that culture, I believe that they were the ones ultimately at fault.
Harrison Blank went to court for the manslaughter of the women and children who worked at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. After their case was viewed, the judge said they were innocent of all charges. Some good came out of the Triangle Factory fire, though. Approximately 36 laws were made, including fire safety laws, factory safety laws, and child labor laws. This fire marked the end of poor safety laws and the majority of child labor in many states.